Hey, it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to the Empowered Harmonizers. And I'll give a huge shout out to those of you who recently donated to the channel. Thank you so much for your contributions and your donations. It does really keep me inspired to know that the content that I'm creating here is hitting home and it's resonating with you and making a positive impact. So thank you so much. And for those of you who have continued to inquire and wonder where it is, if I have indeed made a positive impact on your life and you would like to donate to the Peace and Harmony channel, you absolutely positively can. There is a donate now. It's like a little button on the right hand side of the PayPal homepage here at the channel. So absolutely positively feel free to make a donation. It would be much appreciated, of course. So I want to zoom in and focus in on a great viewer question that we have received, and that is, why is it so difficult for her to get up and out of the relationship? In other words, it's the slide back. It's the perpetual motion that keeps one going back, staying stuck, thinking you might as well be better off with this person. Maybe you should just give in. Maybe you're being too hard on the narcissist. Maybe you're being too hard on the psychopath. Maybe the borderline, maybe you should just toughen up and deal with it and then just go back and then take that reduced happiness in the relationship and just try to make amends or put up and deal with it and just continue to cope. Well, if you're in a perpetual coping mechanism, you're not really living your life. You're basically settling. And the reason why it is so difficult for you to stay on the path is because the mind loves patterns. You will stay in a habituated emotional state, a cognitive state. In other words, what you do is repeated and rehearsed and memorized and reinforced on a day-to-day basis. So just like you might get up from the bed the same way, you might brush your teeth the same way, wash your hair the same way, take a shower the same way, drive to work the same way, go to your grocery store, everything that tends to be repeated or that you have a routine again and again, it's just rehearsed again. You know it automatically. It's like learning to ride a bike. You don't have to think about what you're doing. Things just fall into play. Things just fall into place. So very much your negative thought patterns, your negative emotional patterns and your negative self-belief patterns are also very much set up or fall into place the same way. In other words, you don't have or aren't aware of that emotional refractory period where you have the opportunity to change. You have the opportunity to make a choice. You have the opportunity to change your routine. You have the opportunity to say, I am empowered, versus sliding back and going back to what is familiar. And you stay stuck basically in those previous past patterns, if you will. And you don't enter into that role of metacognition where you're thinking from a higher consciousness. So that's why I emphasize positive, orderly direction thinking, pod thinking, where you're able to become more consciously aware of when those feelings, those negative thoughts, those cognitions begin to come into play, and to stop them and to say, stop, no, I am not going that direction. I'm not falling back. I am not regressing. I'm moving forward and I'm making a positive choice here. And then being able to recognize that consciously and then self-correct. And when you self-correct, you are taking two very key important components into your hands. And that is the feeling of positive self-regard as well as action. So you have to have the positive self-regard as well as action and combine and blend the two and take those moving forward through the course of your day and your choices. And furthermore, realizing that this could not be reflected back to you or validated or experienced with the narcissist, because the narcissist, the borderline, the psychopath, they cannot give to you which they do not have themselves. So if a lot of, very many viewers, empowered harmonizers here, when we really dissect this and look at this and all the individual moving parts and the components, as I like to call it, when you really dissect at it and look at the parts, which is very important, so you can understand it, in your heart and understand it in your mind and combine the two. When you really look at it, the covert narcissist cannot validate or reflect back to you kind of like that positive respect, that positive love, that positive mirroring back, that those empathy neurons, the mirror neurons that are required or that we feel in healthy people. In other words, that are reflecting back to you that positive part of you, which you, that little inner kernel of you, which you love and adore and respect, which is the internal you. In other words, the tough but gentle guy, the compassionate, sweet but attractive woman, the caring, kind person who has respect and boundaries and can perpetuate that in a relationship and not be annihilated in the process, not being taken advantage of in the process. In other words, they're able to give you the goods, but reflect back to your positive aspects, but allow it to be reflected and respected back to you like you own this. In other words, this is who you are, and I'm reflecting back to you, but I don't have to take it away or insult it, criticize it, have a derogatory sort of, slamming you, hurting you, wounding you, trying to leave a bruise, a scar, a negative comment in order to be in a relationship with you. So that's where the psychopath will do that, and they call it basically, duping with delight. In other words, they will insult you with delight. In other words, they'll insult you and then just lie and cheat behind your back and then think that it's funny and actually take great pleasure in seeing you in pain. They have a very sick, sadistic personality trait, as you know, with that. And we can have videos on just that. But when we're talking about this aspect of really needing to understand why it's so difficult to change the pattern, is because you're wanting to go back to the old way. You're wanting to go back to the violation. In other words, it feels familiar. It feels familial. So, family is the familiar. So if that is what is familiar, the negative, you need to validate a new pattern, positive, orderly direction thinking, get into your automatic writing, those recovery pages that we recommend each and every day, trying your best to do the 3 pages and begin to see some new patterns emerging and being able to hear, even if it's one key sentence, it says you need to take action. You go, wow, my subconscious just woke me up and told me I need to take action. That's like, it's like that is your, that is your wake up morning call to action. And it's just like, you need to grasp that and like unfold it like a fortune cookie, like a little personal message to you from your subconscious, from your higher self, from your guardian angels, from the Jesus healing spirit, from the wonder child, whatever it is you want to name it, trying to come through and download to you. You need to hearken those messages and take action. So that's why it's very important to take pen to paper so you can see it and have it reflecting back to you. And so you do not forget, because the mind is very apt to slip into forgetfulness. It's just kind of like a little wave. It's kind of like a gentle wave, until the ultimate tsunami comes and then hits you with destructive force. And you're like, I told you so. I should have heeded those little gentle ripples that were coming through. That would have been a lot more pleasant, because the undertow of the big tsunami is like the big wave. It's just like, boom, you find out, your spouse is cheating. Boom, you find out that they don't have a job and they've been lying to you. Boom, you find out that they have abused your child. All these different things. Boom, you know, and you're like, I should have heeded this when it was that little gentle ripple, and you give yourself the chance to hear and feel those gentle ripples in the automatic pages, the recovery pages, those 3 longhand pages of writing. And even guys, if you're not used to writing, get used to it. Yes, you're writing, try to make it as legible as possible, even though it might just kind of come through the page, or it might, you know, you need to get up a little bit early to do it. But allow yourself, those can be the most precious, important moments of your day, because they make the greatest impact. And then you are then called to the task of giving to yourself, which that narcissist, that borderline, that psychopath could not give to you. It is the greatest gift you can give to yourself, and that is that of self-validation and creating a new pattern of thought, feeling, and behaving, and taking love combined with action. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.